Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of State of the Federation. I'm your host Tucker, and with me today, as always, are my co-hosts Robert and Joseph. How you guys doing?
I am doing quite well. I guess this is a bit of a spoiler or leading with the wrong story, but we are setting the unsanctioned regionals for April 14th of 2018. So I'm kind of excited in getting that all organized. And more details will be coming ahead forthwith, something like that.
Forthcoming.
Forthcoming.
I'm well. Normally, the New Year's when I really start to miss baseball, but I don't really want the season to start this year, so.
I was just thinking about that. Somebody said to me the other day, pitchers and catchers is only a month and a half away, and I'm like,
Yeah. OFN, gentlemen, it is the second. This year is 2 days old.
oh yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Just by the way.
Yawn.
What is,
You're so slow in it, Tucker. We're 2 days. We're 2 days past the New Year.
it's old news.
Anyway.
In Hipsterville, you should technically be wishing us Happy New Year for the 19th, right?
For crying out loud. Will you... What?
2019, right? You should be ahead of us
Yeah.
in your hipster style.
I see. I thought you meant January 19th, and I was very confused.
No.
All right, so anyway, we're here to talk... Okay, we should talk about the Dominion Pack really quickly, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to talk about the starter, which is what people probably actually care about. So, Dominion Pack. The Battle Stations guy is good, and Suicide Attack is secretly amazing. It's, you know what? I just realized I do not have Suicide Attack pulled up. Excuse me a second.
Well, so I guess, generally speaking, before I throw it to Robert here to talk about Suicide Attack, certainly not as competitive as the Romulan Pack and the starter. In our, I guess that's an official State of the Federation opinion. If it does amount to anything, other than those few good cards like the Talak Talan Battle Stations crew and a couple of others, most prominently Suicide Attack. If it's going to amount to anything, it's going to be with bug swarms. I don't see how that's going to work. Ships being destroyed in one attack, the way they are in this game. But who can say? Even we cannot.
All right.
See it all.
So I got it up on the screen now. 5-point Dominion Tech, 1 per ship. Jem'Hadar attack ship only. Activation phase: if the ship overlaps an opposing ship, target that ship and destroy this ship. Deal 2 crits to that target ship's hull. So, some interesting things about this. First of all, it totally works with cheat death. Second of all, it does not discard itself.
And so those are all true things. I think it is misleading to try to play that card in a manner of using cheat death and trying to recur it. I think that's a bad way to use those cards.
Oh, sure, it totally is. But it's definitely a thing you could do if you wanted to.
Why is it bad?
I think it's bad. So Joseph and I have been playtesting the Suicide Attack, and I am personally a fan of that card in a limited scenario right now, because what I have found is it is incredibly good to kill a 4-hold ship. And in the last Worlds, we have seen an influx of 4-hold ships with the Hathaway, with the Enterprise A, what are some of the other, the USS Defiant 1764. These 4-hold ships were incredibly difficult to deal with. And so what I surmise is if I can get 2 bugs at about 40 points and take out a 4-hold ship that is worth more than 40 points.
That's 40 points between the 2 bugs, by the way.
40 points between the 2 bugs, so 20 points on each of them. Then I am effectively leading in the game, and I've taken away one of their powerhouses. And as I've discussed previously, and I think we all agreed, this game is no longer about taking 130 points in an hour, but it is determining who takes 65 points and who takes 75 points, for example.
I'm still not 100% sold on that, but sure, why not?
Yeah. And if I can take 50 points from a ship with 42 points, I'm effectively in the lead and I've crippled my opponent. And it is not perfected, but I'm running them at about 40 points combined, and they can be frightening. And an unprepared opponent will be blindsided by it, and it will take away whatever strategy they had.
They've been putting me in stitches. I think we'd agree.
Yes.
In our games.
Yeah, and we have talked a lot about the Colo Sutherland, right? Or a hyped up Sutherland with shield adaptations, with Riker, with Sulu, and that can be a 46-point ship that can never be hit by any opposing ship, except for 2 bugs with suicide attack.
Yeah, it's a good way to circumvent high defense dice, attack cancels, to an extent even extra maneuvering, because you finish your moves before they start theirs, usually.
Yeah, and it was actually funny because in the first game Joseph and I played in a while, we had been bad-mouthing the Dominion pack, and my fleet consisted predominantly of Dominion faction pack cards. So,
Well, the rest of that fleet wasn't great.
no, it wasn't great, but it was powerful, right? Because it was flying the battle cruiser with all power and aft weapons array, with a Colo Sutherland flying next to it.
Which I am still not sold on, FYI.
Yeah, I think a 7 attack die 360 is a powerful attack. But that's getting into more Worlds talk, which we'll do in a couple months.
Yeah. Long story
but
short.
Ultimately, go ahead, Tucker.
I was just gonna say, long story short on this is, suicide attack is great. Battle Station Crew Guy is great. You should probably grit your teeth and buy one of the packs. Probably. Maybe.
I can see someone be competitive with 2 suicide attacks, but my recommendation with that is just borrow your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, borrow the second one.
Yeah, borrow the second one.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think I'd buy 2.
No. All right. So now let's move on to the things we are most focused on today, which is the starters. Starting off, so we're not going to go over the cards we've already gone over, which means we only have like 26 images to show you. Woo. Anyway, starting off with the generic Vorcha class, and oh boy, is this something. As you know, it's a generic Vorcha, 5152, evades, target lock, cloak, sensor echo, tech weapon crew. It is 22 points.
The Vorcha was the preeminent ship out of the first starter, and it may well be the preeminent ship now that this starter has come out. 22 points is very cheap. You've got every different kind of upgrade too, so the bar doesn't suffer even if it's just 3 slots. It really makes it tough to run some of those other ships that just got a discount because, you know, for a few points more, you're in 5 attack dice and cloak territory. So these are sleek and amazing.
Yeah, and where we just talked about not purchasing 2 Dominion sets because you can borrow your friends, just go buy 4 starters because everyone's going to be running 4 Vorchas, and you won't be able to borrow any. That's a little facetious, but this is a fantastic swarm ship. I have seen some in play already, and I guess ironically for this show, you can actually run a very competitive faction pure Klingon fleet now with things like Galron, with Core, Worf, Drex, and other cards from this pack. It's swarms are back, especially for the Vorchas. So where we have poo-pooed them in the past, this makes them very much a reality.
Well, you want to talk about swarms? The swarm I'm most worried about is 3 Vorchas, 3 fighters.
Yeah, because how many points do you have left over?
4.
Just after 4. Okay, well maybe I wouldn't be too worried about it. But But I think if you can do like 3 Vorches, 2 fighters, and then take those points and put on interface generators, put on captains, get those battle stations going, then that makes it a very, very difficult fight.
That's very true. If you have 2 fighters and 3 Vorches, all that have interface, what ship do you take down first?
What ship can you take down?
Exactly. So.
Especially because at that point you have more than enough points for co-pilot.
That's right.
Yeah, and bringing back to the suicide tech, this is where I struggle with suicide tech because these ships have 5 hull. So I can't take out a single Vorcha with 2 Jem'Hadar attack ships running into the side of them.
Potentially.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, damage deck will be the damage deck, but then
there are actually some things we'll have to say about that too. Though if we assume they're cloaked, then yes, you can still do it. But
right. Well, cloaked or not, because I'll be hitting the hull, right? All damage from suicide attack goes to the hull directly.
All damage from suicide attack goes to the hull, but spoiler alert, not all damage from the damage deck goes to the hull.
And that's a good point.
So, before we get too far off onto that, Vorcha's amazing. And let's look at another amazing ship, and the last unique ship we haven't seen. I mean, everybody's seen it. Starter's been out for like a week, but anyway, it's the IKS Vorn. It's a cavort. 4153, tech weapon crew, evade, target lock, cloak, sensor echo. When attacking if the ship is cloaked, if the defending ship is at range 1, this ship rolls +2 attack dice. If the defending ship is at range 2, this ship rolls +1 attack dice. All for 24 points. This is a cavort I might actually want to run.
I would just say take a generic Vorcha instead. Although I do like cavort with cards we'll see below, because the bonuses to attacks will be beneficial and can be used well. But outside of niche situations, I think the generic Vorcha is just better.
Counterpoint. The IKS Vorn is way better than a generic Vorcha. and here's why. At range 2, it's as good as a Vorcha stats-wise. At range 1, it's better. It has a better upgrade bar because you have the second crew, which is certainly relevant. And then beyond what Robert calls niche, I agree, except I think it's a little more than that. That +2 at range 1 and +1 at range 2 is not limited to primary attack. So there are interesting weapons, secondary weapons, that this ship could really transform. Ferengi missiles, as an example, this ship effectively doubles its damage output at range 1.
Right, and you get +3 because you also get the additional +1 from range once you get into range as well.
Not with a secondary weapon, but
with a secondary weapon.
With a primary weapon, this is rolling 7 dice at range 1,
which plays, especially in this environment.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps, I don't know. I think running the generic Vorcha is going to be more common than running this. Because I also think that we're going to see more engagement at range 3. But that's me. I mean, it's playable. It's probably the most playable cavort in the game.
I think that's beyond contestation. Yeah. Is there another playable cavort?
No.
Well, then my statement stands. Undisputed.
Well, no, undisputed. Maybe generic Vorchas are more common, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Although
I just said my undisputed comment is that this is the best cavort in the game.
Okay. Yes. In the defense of the cavort, in 2016, when Ben ran his Invincible Fleet into the finals, one of the ships was a cavort, and I asked him why, and he explained it to me, and I was like, oh, and then I promptly forgot. So
it 8 shields. It like dealt with damage conversion or something.
No, I really don't remember.
It was, if I had to wager a guess, I would suspect that it was the 5 hull.
Yeah, that sounds right.
First of all, it didn't attack. It used space stations to attack. So the attack dice were meaningless, right? So why pay more for a Vorcha?
Right, and then it was one that like got a bonus defense die under some circumstances or something like that. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, let's not talk about the past. Vorn, amazing. Less amazing is the generic Cavort, which is 4152, tech weapon crew, Klingon bar for 20 points, aka 2 points less than a Vorcha, aka just get a Vorcha.
Yeah, that's the 2 points for one attack die is a price that is well worth paying. So
Yeah, it's
never
not like
play this.
it's not like Type 8 phaser ray is good or anything.
Well, this can't
Gotcha.
even take Type 8s.
No, that
So,
I was making the point that it's worth it to pay 2 points because that's what type. You know what? Never mind.
yeah. I guess my comment to this is I like what they're doing with generic ships and their slots. All right. Once again, if anything is to the ship's defenses, it comes with a tech weapon and crew slot, which is the ideal for what you want on a generic. I don't think you can ask for much better.
Did the old one not?
I don't think Cavort's had that.
Let
Or
me
maybe
look.
Many generics had bad dials or
Right.
bad slots.
Cavort. Let's see.
so one of them had it, but I don't know how many variations we have on the old Cavort.
Generic Cavort, tech weapon crew,
Okay.
and there was
What
never
was the generic Vorcha?
tech weapon crew.
Tech weapon crew.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ben ran the Karaga because it got every time it defended while cloaked, it got a bonus defense die.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. And I think he needed tech weapon crew for something anyway. All right. So moving right along, we have moving into captains. I believe we have Duras. No, no one.
I was gonna make a joke that at least this time he's unique.
No, that was
unlike his
Duras.
son.
That was Duras, son of Taral, not
Okay.
Duras, father of Taral.
It's all in the family.
Basically the same guy.
All right. Well, you know.
This is expensive for a 6-point.
No,
captain.
Tucker, you run us through the card.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Okay, Joseph, run us through the card.
No, wait. I'm totally okay. I got it. It is a 6 skill, 5-point question mark. Unique Klingon captain has an elite talent. Because Romulan and Klingon elite talent upgrades equipped to this captain costs 3 SP. Raises questions about faction penalties, I think, but no, it doesn't. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Elite talent upgrades equipped to this captain start the game face down. Flip a face down elite talent equipped to the captain face up the first time it is used.
It's pricier than any 6-skill captain that has ever yet been made, unless I'm mistaken. There would be a faction penalty on those elite talents, but I guess what the deceptive thing is not maybe the point savings. It's that one of the essential components of playing competitively is planning ahead, and cards that are flipped down in your opponent's build are a huge barrier to that. So I don't know if I'd pay 5 points for a 6-skill captain, but making them have to guess and play around, more than one card because they don't know exactly what's under there is actually deceptively powerful.
I like the thematics of the card, running the Romulan and Klingon elite talents. I agree with Joseph that upside down cards are always great, but I would just recommend running DNA encoded messages if you really wanted hidden talents.
Robert, I'm gonna pick your brain as a TO for a second.
Okay.
Cards display their faction on the back, right?
Yes.
If I was running Duras, would my opponent be allowed to know whether my talents were Romulan or Klingon?
So I believe the only one where you cannot see the back of the card is Quark, because Quark specifically says place the card underneath him. If a card is not underneath a crew or captain, then it is beside it, and so people would be able to see the faction of the card.
All right. Sounds
What if
reasonable.
This,
What
yeah,
if
this
there's-
also, if they're in sleeves, they could be asked for the faction or to see the back. Because like Hydacon, you should be able to identify which slots those cards are taking and potentially see which factions they are. Same with Tana Los. That's how everybody knows when you're running forced feedback polls, because what else do you do with Tana Los?
That's fair.
Yeah, until you see the
There
board.
are things that you could do with it.
That's fair. All right.
Not good things,
No.
but there are things.
You have to run something else under him every now and then just to keep your opponents honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the favorite thing I like to do with HydeCon was to run SETI eels and lure, because everybody always expected me just to be running lure and fake messages.
Fair. Very good.
Devilish.
I take after you sometimes, Joseph.
So,
But I think in conclusion, Duras, there's better things to do than running him.
he's really just too expensive, I think is the short version.
And there's better ways to get that kind of ability of hiding cards if that's what your game is.
Though I will say, do you want to know the only thing I can think of every time I see Duras?
I'm thinking his son. No, I don't know.
No?
No.
No.
Joseph?
Tucker, we didn't readily pick up on the Beatles references. Like we're a lost cause for musical.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that's enough Rammstein for now. So, let's keep moving along.
Yeah, we get 2 cards in 1.
What?
2 cards in 1.
Oh, because next up we have Lursa and, well, I'm gonna read it. Okay, so Lursa is a 4-skill, 3-point Klingon unique captain who says when attacking, if the ship is cloaked, the ship rolls +1 attack die. But she also says at the beginning of the game round, you may flip this card to reveal Betor, who also has 4-skill, 3-point cost, unique Klingon captain, and has the same flippy text. But she says when defending, if the ship is cloaked, this ship rolls +2 defense dice. So, first question, and I think Robert is leading off. What do you think of this card by itself?
Oh, you took all the thunder out of my comment, because I was going to praise you, Tucker. So I'm not answering your question, and instead I'm going to heap praise upon you. Because you correctly identified you can use these cards with the old Lursas and Betor.
Well, maybe. I mean, let's...
Oh, absolutely. Why not?
There's an argument people are making that the card looks at both sides for uniqueness purposes, but I don't buy it.
Upside down cards do not apply to the game.
But is it really upside down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it? It's not face down, is it?
Yeah, it is. If it's not face up, the only other option is that it is face down.
But the physical card is not face down. This card, it's impossible for this two-sided card to be face down, is my point.
It is very possible for one of the 2 sides to be face down. Otherwise, you're breaking the laws of physics
That's interesting.
and reality.
Hey, Joseph.
It's always face down.
Yes.
Hey, Joseph, what do you think about this card?
Oh, I didn't even get. Well, hang on. Let me back up. Well,
Well,
okay.
no. If you're gonna talk about them in combination with the old ones, I'm gonna ask Joseph what he thinks about this by itself, and then you can talk about the old ones.
Fine. Shoot, Joseph.
There, I think, is some obvious utility in attacking early in the game with Lursa, and then maybe you're trying to keep your ship alive, in the dying moments, or you've gone past someone on a joust, and then they've got behind you, and so you flip over to Betor, and now you have some defense. I think there's some obvious utility there, which is nice. But what strikes me more is just that both sides of the card are quite good on their own. I mean, +2 defense dice. I would take a captain for that in many cases, and adding +1 attack die in the captain slot is close to as cheap as it gets. There's 2 Dominion captains, Gulmaset and
Golamek.
Gulamek, but one is an Ox token, and one the captain has to have
Higher
lower.
skill.
Lower.
No, he has to be.
Yeah,
Your opponent must be lower.
That's right. And this is just cloaked, which is a lot less onerous to get that one attack die. So there is some utility in having them both in the game, to be sure, but I just think they're both good cards on each side.
Robert?
It's actually sorry. Yes. So it's interesting because I would actually play them the opposite of what Joseph mentioned. Because of the low captain skill, I would probably go in with Baator face up initially because I want her to survive late into the game. And I'd be afraid if Lursa was face up that she would be drawing the attack before she could actually attack. So I would probably run them in the opposite direction that Joseph mentioned.
Okay, but now go ahead and talk about them in combination with the old Lursa and Baator.
Oh, yeah, it's no question. You run Baator as a captain, and then you add Lursa as a crew member. So Baator becomes a 7 captain skill with an overflow of +1, and you're getting the free cloak or sensor echo action. So you're just always cloaked, always getting that +2 defense dice. At a 7 skill captain.
And you get an elite talent slot.
And you get an elite talent slot on your crew, which is Lursa. Yeah, it is a fantastic combo. I think so. That's something that we'll see in play.
And
Joseph, would you ever run Lursa the captain and Baator the crew?
Baator the crew just lets other people use your elite talent, right?
Right. So you take something like DNA encoder.
Why would you take that?
Because now you have 3 different talents that they could choose from.
not
Yeah,
just
but
not
your
just,
own ship. Choose from them.
because the people on the other ship can activate DNA encoded messages, and it'll deploy to their ship.
Yes.
Yeah, but what? Why wouldn't you just use DNA encoded messages on the ship that it's on?
Because that captain may not have a talent slot. For Blood Oath.
No, but my point is, Joseph, my point is, like, actually, yeah, Blood Oath isn't a bad example, right? Let's say,
I have a generic captain.
Baator is in the middle of your fleet, right? And you can choose which of your ships to send ahead and then activate DNA encoded messages so that it can be enraged to Blood Oath.
I guess I would have to. Yeah, you know what? If there's not a combination in the game now that would be worth it, there very well could be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the card we'll get to is also a good day to die if you want to trigger that up from a different ship potentially. Defense condition 1 we've talked about. Insha. Oh, you can even send a ship up to go use detonation codes to go try to blow up mines before you fly in.
All right. Old Baator is awesome. We know this. Yeah, this is a great captain. All right, moving ahead.
Well, so, just real fast. Joseph, would you ever run these without the original pairing of Lursa and Baator?
Yeah, I think Lursa's a great captain.
Okay.
Yeah, because low captain skill can also get helped by interface generators, and you're going to be cloaked to use your attack anyway, right? So there's interesting. Anything that's going to any pairing her with a in an Admiral Worf fleet where you want to attack early would be one big example that I can think of that would be good.
Here's another interesting thing you can do, by the way. You can have your cake and eat it too. In other words, let's say you start with Baator, flip Baator, and old Lursa, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to the point where you just need more offense and the defense really isn't important. You can still flip this card and then just choose to discard the old Lursa.
Yeah. Or the other way is you run Lursa and then with Old Baitor, and once you've used the talents off of Old Baitor, you can chuck her.
Mm-hmm.
You lose the captain skill, but
True.
there's still a lot of value. Actually, I like that.
But to be clear, if you use the talent on another ship, that talent still discards if that's part of its cost, right?
Yes, the talent, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what just occurred to me? You could even. Okay, you could start with Flip Baitor.
Let up a generic captain. Oh my God, you're absolutely right. Tom.
Let me finish. You could start with actually Flip Lursa and Old Baitor, right? Use the talent, flip it over, pitch Old Baitor, and then use cryogenic stasis to deploy the other one.
That's awesome. That's actually incredibly valuable.
No, you know what? No, you couldn't, because it doesn't. It's still a captain card. It just fills a crew slot, so you can't put it under.
So it's not actual.
Yeah.
I guess you could fleet commander and use Hyde Con. Maybe no, he's only upgrades.
But unique doesn't. The deployment rules matter less, right? You can't have the same unique cards in a fleet.
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't put.
Oh, right. It's you can run it if it's like one per ship kind of thing. But that's kind of interesting because the card flips.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay. That argument now sways me a little bit.
Well, I think you can still. I just don't think you can put it under cryogenic stasis and have it on have the same named card somewhere else in your fleet, because now you're running it twice, right?
Right, but isn't that the same argument for by running the flip card, you have elected to run in your fleet both Baitor and Lursa as captain?
No, you haven't. You've chosen to run Lursa.
The card that's face up.
The card that's face up. And I there's no way that if you have Baitor original and you have Baitor down, with Lursa facing up, there's no way the name of that card is Baitor.
Yeah.
Right? I don't
So
how do you convince me of that?
How's that different than cryogenics then? Because the card in cryogenics is upside down.
The card in cryogenics is purchased for your fleet, and that name is written into your fleet.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No, you've re-convinced me.
All right. Well, you know what? This is a naughty rules debate, and we got a lot of other stuff to do. So let's move on from here. But suffice it to say, this is an interesting conversation. Maybe clear it with your TO if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm still standing by the fact that you can run the old cards with the new ones, so long as there's no overlap.
All right. Christopher Hobson moving into the crew. So he's a 2-point Federation unique crew. And he says, when attacking, if the defending ship is cloaked, the defending ship rolls -2 defense dice. Use this instead of data all day, every day.
Captain data, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which data? Actually, even, like, in general, which data?
New captain data.
Yeah, I don't know. Because new captain data removing the cloak token entirely means they lose the interface generator.
Yeah, they do slightly different things.
Yeah. I like, actually, I guess, I was going to say I don't like Christopher Hobson's because I don't like cards that have multiple utility, and it's 2 points wasted against a non-cloak fleet. But that said, I've been trying to use data, which is probably a worse example of non-utility if I'm going up against a non-cloak fleet. So, yeah. Joseph, what's your thought?
This is a crew slot instead of a captain. I think this card is baller. Like, cloaking was really poised to come back into its own, and I still think it's going to. But, this single-handedly has to give you pause. if that's what your plan is, because now you're giving up your shields for two defense dice potentially when all's said and done, and it's the easiest thing in the world to have Goval kicking around to get 2 uses out of them. So even if you're running a single interface, that's no.
He doesn't discard.
Oh wow.
He's just a permanent effect.
Yeah.
He's a permanent passive effect.
So he's amazing. He is a tier 1 card.
That's what I'm saying, right? Why would I? Because he's a passive effect that doesn't require an action and doesn't discard. Why would I ever run data over this?
He doesn't impact the interface generator, so you're still not addressing that attack cancellation.
If I'm trying to get a ship off the board in the first round of combat, Data can help me do that in a way that he can. Now, this is a a tier 1 card, so to speak. Data is not. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
They do slightly different things.
Yeah, and
so
the sacrifice. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think they're actually in competition. This I expect to be ubiquitous.
Yeah.
In the game.
I don't know if it's ubiquitous. I think it's taking a crew slot. It's 2 points. We're still not certain cloaking is the end all be all, and it doesn't address interface for me. He's not an auto include.
There have been so many boosts to cloaking lately that I don't know that it's the be all end all, but I certainly think it's going to be present enough that this is going to be 2 points well spent every single time.
Unless I'm playing you, Tucker, because you're just going to torkle and laugh. With your Borg. Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to be playing 128 against your 130.
Yeah, so you're still.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if he's playing 384.
You don't know me. I could put cloaking device on my board ships. It happened in Star Trek Online.
And actually, this does help against interface in this way. One of the subtle or the best thing about interface is that you roll your defense dice. If your defense dice don't carry the day, then you use your interface, right?
Right.
This makes it far less likely for your defense dice to carry the day. So you're getting them to use that interface. Because, man, if they plop down a battle stations token, you attack into them to burn their interface, and they don't roll any blanks. They roll 2 evades and 4 battle stations or something frustrating like that. Now you're really behind in that game.
Yeah.
With Hobson, they've got to take 2 damage.
Especially with a scan, right? Because clearly you're scanning when you're doing this.
Well, you don't even need to.
You don't need to. I'd rather battle station.
But it's sweet too to scan.
Yeah. I'm almost thinking now it makes sense to take him a second passive crew, and that makes actually Odo valuable, because your Odo could either trigger him, which would be incredibly powerful for your second ship, or like Riker or something for passive evadability.
Or you could just put Odo on the same ship and just thumb your nose at cloaking all day.
Odo says he target a friendly ship.
Right.
But that would be those are nice choices. So.
Yeah. Mostly, and I think also having Hobson's might make that one ship the target.
All right. Well, fair enough. Well, he's great. We got other stuff to look at, so let's keep going. Beverly Crusher. This is an interesting one. I have a couple questions here that I'm going to ask, sort of to set a topic for this one. Beverly Crusher is a unique Federation crew, 3 points. And she says, activation phase, disable this card, remove a disable token from a crew upgrade equipped to the ship, or action, discard this card. Equip a crew upgrade with a cost of 4 SP or less that was discarded from the ship to this ship. So 2 questions. Number 1, is she better or worse than Enterprise E old Beverly Crusher? Number 2, she costs the same and has a very similar effect. Is this meant in some way to errata the old Beverly Crusher? Discuss. Robert, go first.
I don't think it is meant to errata Old Beverly Crusher, but I do think she is better than the Old Beverly Crusher.
Really?
Yeah, Joseph?
I can see some niche example. Is there a reason to use her instead of Goval?
Well, that wasn't the question, but no.
I just don't understand when you would use this card.
Phlox is an example.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good point. So she does have some niche applications, but her original card is kind of niche as well, and this is a little more so even.
Well, no, because I think you go from a Wayun ability to a Sopek ability.
Yeah, but so what's the difference?
Well, Sopek's ability is powerful because you can do it at your when you elect. It doesn't have to be immediate.
Yeah, and I guess if they've got a ton of ganking, you can get away from them before you bring it back or something.
Right.
But, or like if they have double ganking, they discard it and then they can't. Even if they have a free action with something else, they can't do it. But again, I just think it's pretty niche. Like many 99 times out of 100, having Goval instead of her and saving 1 or 2 points is going to be exactly as good.
Well, also the other component that Goval doesn't care for is removing because it's a non-action removal of a disable token.
Yeah, he discards to remove a disable.
Or
prevent a disable. So I guess she can be recurred because she doesn't discard and he does.
Right.
But again, that's like pretty.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought of Goval for the discarding him to prevent the disable.
He has that ability, I believe.
He does, yeah. I mean, I've never used him for that, but yeah, I prefer the Sopek nature because it gives my fleet flexibility. And like Joseph mentioned, if I want to protect against a discard, I do it with Goval or Leonilas. And Leonilas is now cheaper than Beverly as well on Federation ships.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Beverly's kind of gone the way.
And there's David Marcus too, right?
Yeah, true. There is.
Yeah. So, good card. I guess there's better cards in the game still.
Yeah. All right.
And one might be named Beverly Crusher.
That's true. All right. Deanna Troy, 2-point Federation crew, range 1 to 3, unique, obviously. Planning phase. After all ships have chosen their maneuver, discard this card and target 2 opposing ships. Look at the maneuver dials of the target ships. Then this ship may change its chosen maneuver. The target ship's maneuvers may not be changed for the rest of this game round. Has this effect ever been good? Joseph.
Knowing what they're gonna do, and it's an opposing ship.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because this has turned into hardball with Tucker.
with Tucker Kobe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's a great goddamn format, frankly. It can be helpful.
Joseph, you're wrong. Next topic.
Why I'm hesitating is what's the difference between her and Luther Sloan again?
He looks at 3 ships, and I don't think he lets you choose your maneuver. Maybe, I don't know. Let me look.
Let's look him up.
Yeah.
I got Utopia open.
No,
I can do it.
He lets you change your maneuver.
He's a discard. Is she a discard?
Yep. He
looks to 3 as well.
And he doesn't have a range.
Yeah.
So.
But they can reset their dials, which is interesting.
Can't.
No, they can't.
It's just it's reminder text.
Okay. Well, no, I think it could be important because like change course or other cards or for one of the older Huras.
He costs 1 more point.
Yes.
On any ship except an independent ship.
No, you don't pay a faction penalty for him.
No,
but he's 3.
He's 3.
But that is a good point that Robert makes. you can't change. They can't change their maneuver for the rest of the round. So yeah, change course or Klingon navigator or
Uhura
any
does it.
Uhura. None of those things work with
Yeah,
her.
but also
Fringy.
also fake messages are lure. So this is a great way to shoot yourself in the foot if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Something interesting also with her card and ability is that does she trigger when her ship triggers so I can't look at higher captain skills because they have not set their dials
No,
yet?
because it says after all ships have chosen their maneuver.
Well, that's because I can't read.
That's correct.
That's true. I guess there is that timing window.
Yeah.
And then where we're debating a bit as to how much better the original Beverly is than the new Beverly, the old Deanna is way better
Yeah.
than this new. So play her.
We're getting a resource that looks at dials as well coming up. So, so Joseph, the question I wanted to pose to you is looking at dial a tool for intermediate players, but advanced players should just know their opponent's maneuvers?
I don't. I would say that. What did Reverend Lovejoy say? Yes with a but, no with a maybe. You should start to be able to predict or at least limit the possibilities of what your opponent is going to do, and then plan your maneuvers accordingly. However, if you're trying to set up an alpha strike, or when I was running projected stasis field on shuttles, knowing exactly where their ship was going to be, exactly where, would be very useful. So if you have a trap or something that's going to happen in one round, then that's not, that's, you don't want to take any risks with that, right? If you're putting all your eggs in one basket, you should make sure that, it's gonna come off, right?
All right, but outside of incredibly niche uses, let me ask you a question. Would you rather have this or Christopher Hobson?
Christopher Hobson.
Would you rather have this or Lee Nollis?
Well, hang on. Am I playing you, Tucker?
True.
Because actually, I mean, it's useful against the board, too.
Look, all right, long before I ran Borg, I ran straight Klingons all day, every day. Okay, so I run cloaking fleets sometimes. It happens.
You would drive a Vorcha into the side of a barn if you picked one up now.
That hurt, man.
you would try to spin it every time you banged. So actually, I guess another question for her is: I'd imagine your shuttle actually launches before you would activate her.
Who knows what goes on with shuttles?
Yes? Question mark.
Because you're not placing shuttles after all dials are down, right?
I think the answer is that question will literally never come up because nobody will play this card. Moving on.
No, man. I think it's going to come up over: do I have to set dials or do I have to?
Look, it's Geordi LaForge. So, Geordi is a 3-point Federation crew unique activation phase. After the ship reveals its maneuver, place 2 time tokens on this card. This ship may increase or decrease the speed of the revealed maneuver by 2. The color of the maneuver, red, white, green, is the same as the revealed maneuver.
Stop. This card is amazing. This is the best card in the game. Everybody needs to run this card. Nope. It's done.
Action.
No, I'm blocking that line out. I'm blocking that line out.
Nope. This effect is activated.
No. Damn it. No. Damn it.
I still think the ability to do a 4 reverse is amazing.
No, it's all about the 4 come about on the NX.
Or a...
Yeah, 4 white come about on the NX is amazing.
Or you could... yeah, that's true. But you could also do a 1 come about on a Vorcha.
6 come about on a Scimitar. Actually, it's not bad there because you're getting the Ox anyway, so you wouldn't really necessarily need to have that action.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a good repositioning card, and for example, you put him on a galaxy, which I guess makes pretty good thematic sense, and one round you do a hard one. That's not as a white for that matter, right?
No, it's red for Galaxy, I think.
No, the
3 turns are white.
No, they're not.
they are not.
They're red.
They're red.
Yep.
Okay, so then it's interesting because it goes to Robert's point as well, right? You're getting an Ox anyway, and you're turning a 3-turn into a 1-turn, which is a big difference. Let me tell you.
Right, and I mean that's ultimately my analysis. Is this absolutely works best with red maneuvers?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I just don't know what ship I'm paying 3 additional points to make that happen.
Oh my god.
The battleship, you're right.
Hang on. Increase, decrease the speed. I think this lets you quantum slipstream with ships that don't have natural 5 forwards.
That's almost nice, except you want to be able to do actions around your quantum slipstream. That's kind of essential to the quantum slipstream combination, in my opinion.
Here's a question: is an action in the singular your ship action, or is it any action?
I think it's any action.
Yeah.
Because I think the rulebook has been pretty clear that any references to yours or in general refers to the ship. So you couldn't even, for example, use Martok to give the ship an action.
Okay, Robert.
Right, but it's an action singular.
Robert, I have a counterexample for you.
Of?
You put Geordie LaForge on the Robinson with quantum slipstream drive and suicide attack.
Well, that's not getting you where you need to be.
It's getting me exactly where I need to be.
Why does it need to be the Robinson though? I would just use a generic. Bug at that point.
Well, sure. What I mean, spoil my fun if you like. But my point is, all right.
Oh, you need 2 tech slots to make that happen. Robinson has 0.
Whatever. The point
Details.
No, because
Details.
And you're not going to get into with quantum slipstream. You're not going to get into range. You're not going to be able to actually hit a ship.
Are you?
Do you mean suicide attack? Where the Romulan one, where you?
No.
No. He's
was
trying to make the new one work.
Yeah, 5 forward. It doesn't make a bump.
Yeah, but I think you might be right that it does work with quantum slipstream. What's the one that we know? Ion thrusters, right?
Yeah, that's worded the similar way.
So my question though is, we have cards that say you cannot perform any free actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do we think this is any and all actions?
Because Miles O'Brien works against cloak ships.
So Brian works against.
Because it's something that's just unspoken. It's sort of like the Rom Esri issue where some was just superfluous language that they added. Is that the way you're going with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ship cannot perform an action the game round this effect is activated.
Isn't there something else that uses the exact same language?
You have a ship action, which is 1 action.
I think the other ones are like any action, right? You can't perform any action.
There are cards that say that too.
Like arming sequence. Here we go. This okay, that's a lot of text. Oh my god! So Tucker, your question about how much text can be put on a card? Look at arming sequence, and then you'll see how much text can be put on a card.
Good lord, that's gross.
I know.
Does the...
Oh yeah, so arming sequence says you can't perform any action. Fluidic space says you can't perform any action.
All right. Actually, here's a better way of looking at it. You ready?
Oh, do you think it's a typo that they left off the Y?
No, let me finish. The USS Enterprise can perform an action listed on its action bar while it has an auxiliary power token. If it gets an action from Martok, are you arguing it won't be able to use it?
card?
Wait, what?
In other words, this ship cannot perform an action. If you mean only the one action, the USS Enterprise can perform an action listed on its action bar.
Right. Okay. I'll buy. I guess I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna go one better than you. I think there's a typo and they just left off the Y.
Sure.
Well,
why not?
Then it would be there. They also forgot the S. Then.
No, because all the others say you can't perform any action. That's the actual language that they use. Yeah, it may.
I don't think that's right.
Oh, you're right. No, it is plural. I don't know how many points.
I buy that argument anyway.
All right. Yeah, and we're spending way too long talking about. I mean, in all honesty, he's fun. He's cool. I could see him in some, I don't know, niche, fun, thematic scenario fleets, but I don't think he's super playable.
That's the story of the life of Geordi.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a Prometheus. That's what I was thinking of. That gets white one turns with him.
Mm.
Yeah, but you're still. I mean, the Galaxy's a better example because I think you're right to pair it with red. Red maneuvers, I think, work well with Geordi.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we got other stuff to look at. Bye, Geordi. Oh, hey, it's Miles O'Brien.
Yay!
2 point. Oh, it's 2 point Miles O'Brien from the starter. This card must be awesome. Planning phase, disable this card. Remove a disabled token from a tech or weapon upgrade equipped with this ship. Oh, never mind.
We're always looking ways for EM Pulse to recur.
You're always looking for ways for EM Pulse to recur.
The Royal We are looking for ways to make EM Pulse recur. Which, by the way, I think is the only disabling tech that's of any relevance.
There are.
He's also Lozier. Sorry, go ahead.
There are reasons to run him. He'd be great. I mean, if you didn't have to take Sakona, he'd be great on a 608 because you keep your mag charge enabled and then you discard him with the ship ability.
Do you run Loger on 608?
No, I run Sakona.
Because he doesn't have the crew slot. But if he had the crew slot, he would like that kind of ability.
Yeah, then it would be definitely worth it.
Yeah. And I guess, spoiler, non-spoilers, do we have any new tech in any of these where removing a disabled token is of value?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. So, I also don't like I never have liked the free action move a disabled token around because that only really buys you one round of economy. And I just find your combo stalls after the second use. And your ship becomes worthless at that point.
Well, putting on my battle station hat for a moment, the usefulness of this disable movement is that it translates from one upgrade type to another, and that can be occasionally useful. For example, if for some reason you wanted to fire a weapon every single turn on a ship that happened to have the Doctor on it, and you were using that action anyway. But I'm going to admit, that's pretty niche.
And it can already have been done with Lozier. So it's not like this is the new ability to the game.
That's true.
Well, O'Brien gets into your Crusher Phlox loop too, right?
Yeah, yes. but that's the point Robert just made is we already have Lozier for that if we want to do a weapon, and then what tech are we going to do that with?
He does work with tactical stations. Lozier does not.
That's true. That's actually a really important point.
That's true. What tech? I don't think they're not for that kind of point. Layout.
Right.
Correct.
No.
Anyway,
and I guess more spoileries, EM Pulse and the new board captain are kind of awesome.
That's like next week or 2 weeks, whatever we decide to do with that. Anyway, moving on. Kern. Okay, can I just say for a minute, I love this picture.
He's so happy. Yeah. I guess in contrast, I really dislike Deanna Troy's little quasi-smirk. I don't know what's going on with that look. It's like she has gas or constipated.
Yeah, well...
She wants to get off stage.
Let's just say in a quick callback, I share Veronica's views of Deanna Troy. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. Anyway,
I can't remember. I can't remember if it came down on disliked or misunderstood.
I don't care. Anyway, Kern, always jovial. For all you Star Trek Online fans that have been away for a while, they just added some missions with him back, and his voice actor is like as like happy-go-lucky Klingon murderer as always. It's great. Anyway, he's a 4-point Klingon unique crew. He says, action, discard the card, equip a weapon upgrade with a cost of 5 SP or less that was discarded from this ship to this ship. I have been trying to think of a use for this, and I can't.
Hey Joseph, which weapon did I just mention with Miles O'Brien?
I don't remember.
Tactical station. Oh, that's
There
cute.
you go.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's a second tact. Well, it's an action.
Ah, that's true.
That's pricey.
But it's an action for +2 attack dice.
And it doesn't have to be the action you use, the +2 attack dice. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Huh. I was going to say there's no reason not to just take costs in the crew slot. But that is a reason.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting if that's a thing. Because tactical station's going to be everywhere now. That's once a ship.
Right. Well,
What is?
is it once a ship? Who knows?
Well,
Oh, God.
the new one is.
Actually, that goes into the whole argument about the replacement effect of new cards versus old cards.
Yeah, which is a discussion we're probably going to have at some point. Anyway, we thought of a use for
Hang on,
Kern.
hang on. Real fast. The drone ship, a weapon that you hide a weapon underneath it. Would Kern bring both of those back? How would that work?
Let me have a look at triphasics. Triphasic emitters. Okay, so it explicitly discards both of the cards. Getting
Right.
back triphasics would do nothing for you because there wouldn't be anything underneath it, but you could get back the other one as well.
Because they have now stated specifically that the card is deployed because you can't use ship-specific weapons.
And, well, it's not just that, it also explicitly says discard that card. So, it was discarded.
It has been discarded.
Yeah,
Who cares if it was deployed or not?
right, exactly.
Yeah. Huh. I wonder, can you get, no, because it's more points. So never mind. Okay. Tactical stations. There you go. That's our take.
Yeah. Klingon Helmsman. 3-point non-unique Klingon crew. Activation pays. Place 2 time tokens on this card. Perform a scan action as a free action. Okay, so I have to take a stand here. I have to get on my pulpit for a second. Let me explain something. WizKids, I have a message. I understand this can be difficult. The helmsman is the person who drives the ship. It is not the person who does the scanning. It is not the communications officer. It is the ship driver guy.
Counterpoint. When a helmsman is flying through an asteroid field, he must be scanning for the locations of the asteroids. So he does actually have capabilities to heighten the spatial awareness of the ship in relation to other objects in space.
No, somebody else looks at the scanner and shouts it out to him. That's how they get dialogue into those scenes.
It's a modular design. They can all do whatever they need to.
That's actually ultimately the truth. All right. Anyway, I think it's fair.
Joseph, you
Yeah.
running him?
I might run him. I think I like that Fed one where you disable a shield more. I really like the idea of stacking scan tokens a lot. So the Fed thing is a tech. Is it Fed only? Anyway.
No.
So this is a crew, so that could matter. It's not every round. That's the thing that gives me pause. He's not bad though.
Yeah, in the old days, Joseph, you made a comment whereas if a card said action, you just kind of burned it to move on with your life. And I have the same impression with mediocre deposit abilities that are tied to time tokens or disables. Because the ability is not powerful enough for me to try to get some way to manage the time tokens, and I don't want to take a card that activates every other turn.
I don't know. I could, like, it's not. I don't think it's going to see Worlds play. Watch me be wrong. But, like, I could take.
No.
I'd be happy to have it. You know, it's not like I need to disable shields or damage my hull or something stupid. It just every other round, yeah, get that extra. It's like, man, this is going back to when this ship was even close to play. But did either of you ever fly the Excelsior?
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like that, right? It's like, okay, basically it's
Only
a
in my dreams.
yeah, basically it's what it's like a 26-point ship, and every so often you got a free scan token out of it. Okay.
Right. I think though if you're building, you're probably taking more than meets the eye. If you really want that one additional scan, you're taking free action per card. You're taking. I think there's other ways to get scans, either consistently or cheaper.
But if you're trying to kill a cloak ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want 4 scan tokens, then and you're doing it on a ship that doesn't have attack, so you're not taking that fed one. You know, what's a better option than this?
Well, it does. It is a scan action, right? It's not place a scan token. It's a scan action. So that does. It's competing for the other scan action things, like Romulan pilot, for example.
Does more than meet the eye say you can't do a scan action?
No, I think it's just place a token.
I think more than meets the eye is a scan action, isn't it?
No, but you may discard this to place a scan token beside your ship, even
Yep.
if you already have one there. But yes, you cannot perform a scan action as a free action during the round to use this ability.
Well, there you go.
What's the fed tech called?
High energy
It
sensor
came with the
suite.
original. Yeah.
No.
Closer range
No,
scan
the one that
requires.
came with the one that came with
Yeah,
the Bristol.
Close range scan requires you to have already performed a scan action this round.
Yeah, so you use him
Oh,
and then
okay. So they actually work together.
Yeah, I guess
Quite
that's
well.
true. I guess that's true.
So if you have this guy, that, Janeway, and more than meets the eye, there's your 4 scan tokens.
Actually, for that matter, if you're trying to go up against cloakers, this guy close range scan and Hobson.
That's it. There you go.
But
But-
what's your? Oh, go ahead, Joseph.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your quality in that situation, right? We're dedicating all these things to scan.
Spock.
Man, that's so many points and crew slots you're eating up doing that.
Valtane.
Yeah, Valtane
even,
gets you rerolls.
even if you just have a co-pilot, battle stations, you're taking 4 of their defense dice away, right? Like you don't have to 6 out of 6 to put damage.
Yeah, but if you're flying against a straight fed fleet, that's so many points you're wasting into something that's not going to be used. Going back to my utility conversation about Hobson.
I would say that Janeway is probably a step too far for me. But there are plenty of situations against a Fed fleet where having 2 scan tokens would be nice.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, right? Is that Hobson is the 2-point insurance against cloakers. This guy in closer range scan is going to be good against pretty much any fleet.
Well, I guess Hobson's also good against bio ships.
Dude, everybody rolls 2 defense dice at range 3.
No, he says cloak ships roll 2 less.
If the defending ship is cloaked, you're right. Yeah.
Because if there wasn't that, then he would be, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nan close for everyone. Anyway, Klingon helmsman. Serviceable, I think is the word. Serviceable. Yeah. Alright, moving on. Taral. 2-point Klingon unique. When defending, the ship may convert a battle station into an evade. Serviceable?
Oh my god, it's totally thematic. He's riding around with Wirsa and Bator.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think it's more than serviceable. I think it's very good, actually. I mean, it's half of Riker, right? Which people love.
And the other half of Riker is covered by the fact that it's a cloaked ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Although, well, it doesn't have to be a cloaked ship. This works on any ship.
Right, but I think you're running it with Wirsa. I think you need that constant cloaking to get a true value out of that conversion.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
really true.
It's interesting. Like, even if you're just rolling one defense dice, right? Now you're at over 50%. Man, if you get one or two, if you get one of aid that you shouldn't have from a battle station, it's paid for itself, right?
Yeah.
And if not, and if you get more than that, it's really paid for itself. And then he also goes well with Sulu and Riker, because now you have 3 battle station conversions. So you're getting close to the point where you're just not really going to have bad rolls on your defense dice, right?
That's true. Throw him on there with shield adaptation too, because why not?
Yeah, that's a tough ship to break through.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm convinced. He's good.
He's good. I think run Riker on anything fed, and then run Torel on anything cloaked. I don't think you ever really run them together.
All right. Klingon Beck. 1 point Klingon crew, non-unique. When attacking, discard this card, convert a hit into a crit. I actually really like this. But I think everybody knows of my enduring lovish affair with 1 point cards.
And also Ferengi missiles.
Or mag charges, really.
Magters is not so much. I like this, going back to the combo I discussed with the suicide attack, this is a way to get Ferengi missiles to get that 1 crit to go through to the hull.
Yeah, something you say in your love affair, Tucker, is that there are no bad 1 point cards. I think that generally holds true. And this is not too strong for a 1 point card, but it's good. It's a good ability, right?
Yeah.
And actually,
go ahead.
You can run. I don't think this would necessarily be good, but you can run more than one of them.
Yeah.
That's actually true. Yeah, that's interesting.
And
So if I run 2 on a ship, I could use 1 on each of my Ferengi missile attacks.
or you could use them both on one attack.
Yeah.
There's something there.
I think Ferengi missiles is a relevant card.
Robert, I think if you've made anything clear in the last hour and 15 minutes, it's that you think Ferengi missile launchers is a relevant card.
I've been muted on my excitement for that card, but that's for later conversations.
Whatever you say. All right, Klingon Beck, serviceable, probably good. Riker maneuver. Okay. So this is a unique Federation elite talent. When defending, if the attacking ship is not in this ship's primary firing arc, discard this card. Remove all target lock and battle stations tokens beside the attacking ship. Place an auxiliary power token beside the ship in the attacking ship. I am very fond of this style of effect, and I am very fond of the fact that this makes 90-degree forward firing arc ships better.
Why is this not a picture of the Enterprise from The Best of Both Worlds?
Because this is the Riker maneuver. The Riker maneuver is when you vent your gas and shoot it.
Oh, right.
When you're being chased by a bunch of, what are they called?
Scorpions?
Well, they're those weird aliens.
They're
They're the evil Baku.
Oh, that's right. That's it. I'm sorry. For some reason, I always thought it was in Nemesis, but you're right. It's in Insurrection.
The Sona. When you're
Yeah.
being chased by a couple of Sona, you vent your gas and light it up, and you have that joystick to steer, because that's how you get results.
I thought the joystick was in Nemesis.
I think it is, but I think that's in one of the earlier scenes.
Maybe. I mean, look.
Oh, isn't it in the ramming attack that they get the joystick?
Maybe. Clearly, the answer is I need to go back and watch Insurrection and Nemesis again. Which is to say, I really, really don't, because who wants to do that to themselves?
I didn't think Insurrection was that bad.
I've read some things mentioning that Insurrection is not a terrible movie, and it needs fair, unbiased
All right,
reflection.
well, Ida's still working her way through through DS9. So we'll get to the next gen movie soon.
Oh, where is she in DS9? Quick non sequitur. Where is she in
God,
DS9?
she's held up in the middle of season 3 because she doesn't want to watch the next episode because it's a Kai Wynn episode. And
Oh, those are the best.
but the problem is I can't really argue with her.
What on earth made you say that?
I
They are the
hate-
best Robert.
I hate that character. Yeah, Robert, what is wrong with you?
That is what makes her amazing. She is what, Dolores Underbridge? Is that who it is from Harry Potter Book 5? Who's
Yes.
the
You're
who is
asking
the
the wrong
potions?
guy.
No,
Who's
that's
the
that's correct. It's Defense Against the Dark Arts, and yes, it's Dolores Umbridge. But yes,
Yeah, Umbridge.
that's
And she-
absolutely true. I don't need to watch multiple hour-long specials featuring the machinations of Dolores Umbridge.
Oh my god, but the hatred you have for her and that she wins and that visceral anger that you feel when you see her on the screen is so natural. It's amazing. That's
So-
what I love. It is the height of Star Trek when the good guys do not win.
Maybe, Robert, this is a way we differ, but in my life, I like to experience positive emotions.
Yeah, well, the greatest positive emotion was supposed to be when she failed, right? Because when Dolores...
All right, you know what? We're getting way off track.
To get us further off track, Rotten Tomato has Insurrection at 55%, while the audience scores it at 44%. So it's on par with The Last Jedi.
No, not. What's the critic response to it?
We are not
55?
having this argument.
Okay, this is a good time to start talking about how bad The Last Jedi is.
No, does anyone want to talk about the Riker maneuver? Because if not, we're moving on.
That movie was bad.
All right, we're moving on.
I do want to talk about the
Okay, fine. Talk about the Riker maneuver.
Its upside is an attack cancel.
Yeah.
Right. If you have a ship that can generate 2 or 3 evade rolls, and you put this on someone, wow, they will need a lucky roll to get damage through, and then the aux on your ship and their ship is not. It's written as an afterthought, but in some ways that might be the most important thing of all, right? So
I disagree. You want to know
No,
what
I
I
think
think?
it's great. I think if you're out of their prime, if they're out of your primary arc, you don't care for your aux because you are just flying as fast as you can to get out of combat.
well, I'm assuming you have them in a secondary arc, or you have a 360 weapon. But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying giving them an aux is great
Yeah.
You know what
because
No, I
you get
agree.
to choose when to do it.
You know what my favorite part is? It gets rid of all battle station tokens. If they've been stacking battle stations, they lose them all.
Yeah, also true.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to see play. I think it is too timing specific. You need too many correct things to happen. They have to be. They have to be out of your arc. They have to be attacking you, knowing that you have the right maneuver, unless you're running something like Kirk, and they want to attack that ship.
But what else? They're gonna attack you. What's the
Robert.
alternative? Just to
To
not
attack
attack you?
to attack one of the other ships on the board.
Robert.
Well, okay, if they have that option.
Robert.
Yeah. Yes, Joseph. Not Joseph Tucker.
I want you to think about this on the Suran.
Yeah, I don't know if the Suran wants multiple auxes.
That's true.
I think the Suran might be stacking auxes at that point.
Why is it going to have multiple auxes?
Well, if it's got advanced cloaking,
And then it performs its green maneuver after shooting?
and then it still has this aux.
Right.
So it can take a green maneuver at the beginning of the next round?
Which it does not want to do.
I guess that's true.
I think if the Prometheus or something like that brings dorsal phaser array back, this is just a natural.
Well, you also know my feeling of making this a dice game.
True. Well, true. You're relying on if they get. The problem is if they just roll naturally all hits, then you've really wasted your points.
Yeah.
That's true.
And 4 in the modern era, I guess we can call this. 4 points is actually pretty expensive.
True. Not for an attacking, but yes.
Yeah.
All right. moving right along, because we've got probably my favorite card of the... I don't know if this is the best card in the starter, but it's absolutely my favorite card in the starter. Today is a good day to die. Klingon 5-point elite talent. Unique action. Discard this card. All ships may convert all hits into crits this game round. That's just fantastic. That's amazing. That's chaos. I love it. But the comment I was actually going to make is, remember when Klingon elite talent sucked?
I suppose they've really taken a turn
Yeah,
for the better.
I would say so.
Hey, Tucker, you know what card this pairs well with?
I swear to God, Robert.
No, Tucker, you're missing your. You gotta hammer home your quote of quotes. Stop trying to make Ferengi missiles a thing, Robert.
The problem is I can't, in all
That's
honesty,
a terrible
say...
quote. Can I get that on the back of a book,
No.
Joseph?
And I can't, in all honesty, say that Ferengi missile launchers is never going to happen. It might. I could see it happening. It's a little forced.
Well, that didn't stop you from. What's the con? I stab at thee. That's going to be a thing.
Hey, you know what's great with suicide attack?
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
I stab at thee.
I stab at thee.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, somebody besides me want to give an opinion on this card? Robert, you said go.
Yeah, so I think we all agree this applies to all ships in the fleet, right? Opponents and yours all get the crit conversions.
Unequivocally, yes. There are way too many counterexamples for the reverse to be the case.
Okay. I like this thematically. I just don't think it is a competitively good card, because I don't think you want this variance entering into the game unless you specifically build for doing damage to a ship's hull while the other player is still attacking your shields.
Or you have attack cancels. Or you have a ton of evade dice.
Right, but if you're cloaked, that's almost even a riskier proposition, because anything that goes through is now crit onto your hull.
Yeah, but if I'm converting 3 battle stations and re-rolling my defense dice and rolling 8 defense dice, I'll take that risk.
Yeah, but isn't that a win more situation then, where you're just happy to dump normal damage onto the... Like, why are you spending 5 points to take your normal damage and boost that up to crits?
That's a fair point. I see it used more on a support ship, where crits are important. So Ferengi missiles, attack pattern shins on Theta. It's actually
Polaron beam or any of those ignore hull kind of cards, Chronoton, whatever.
That's where I see it being used.
You know what's confusing to me? There's no Worf card with an elite talent slot.
Well, you don't need an elite talent slot to recommend firing the phasers.
Mirror Universe Worf. Yeah, was right.
But, all right, whatever.
Those Mirror Universes Worfs. And it's also a picture of Worf as a Federation Worf on the Defiant, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, you faction computer players.
So hooray consistency.
Here's a picture of Worf on the Defiant saying a thing he said on the Defiant. And it's Klingon.
Well, I think he said it in a lot of places.
You know, I actually looked it up because I was curious about this. It's fewer than you think. Like, it's a really famous Klingon line, but it only gets said something like 8 times over the course of the entire franchise.
No, it gets said that many times by Jadzia Dax in that one episode alone.
Well, do you mean by Worf specifically, or in general?
Maybe they just don't. I looked it up on Memory Alpha. Maybe they just don't list every single time somebody says it, which is reasonable.
Yeah. It actually goes back to another great episode of DS9 where Worf is fighting the Jem'Hadar on the asteroid prison. And what is the Jem'Hadar equivalent of this? Is victory? Oh, victory is life.
We are already dead.
Yeah, and I just love that. I love that comparison, and that's such a great episode, seeing those two fight each other.
It was that was actually quite excellent.
I cannot.
And
defeat this
that's also
Klingon.
another reveal. So again,
Right.
non sequitur. Joseph did not like the genetic coding for Bashir, but Joseph, did you like the changeling reveal for Bashir? Spoiler
Well,
alert.
we got a lot more value out of that changeling because we got we got a couple of the best episodes of the DS9's run, because it's Worf fighting Jem'Hadar, and then when they cut away from him for a bit, it's Garrick doing stuff and talking to himself, which is just as compelling somehow.
Right.
So, I like that a lot more and the changelings were actually doing what they should have been doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a 30-second taste of remake Battlestar Galactica, right?
Yeah. Yeah, except good, but yeah.
I liked
Okay.
until the end. Okay, no, we're not having that conversation. We have other things
No,
to
well,
do.
no. I was saying we're moving on.
Yeah,
We're moving
okay,
on.
no,
And then I'll plug Babylon 5. But
No, photon torpedoes. Okay, photon torpedoes. This is a pretty complicated card now that I'm looking at it. All right, it's a 2-point Federation weapon. It's got a star for an attack value, range 2 to 3, forward or second, primary or secondary arc. Never going to use that. The attack value of this weapon is this ship's primary weapon value plus 1. Attack, spend this ship's target lock token, disable this card, and target an opposing ship. This ship may convert all blanks into it's all blanks into battle stations. That's weird.
yeah. No, because you're using it with the card, so you have that target lock battle station combination.
Well, but you don't have to reroll from the target lock because it's photon torpedoes.
Yeah, but you don't need it because all your blanks are battle stations, so it's 100% conversion.
Oh, that's clever. Oh, that's super clever. Oh, I really like this now.
There's some punch to it, that's for sure.
Put it on Deep Space Nine, never disable them.
I love this direction of photon torpedoes. Photon torpedoes are still suffering and will suffer more from their greatest nemesis, which is cloaking.
Yeah.
This can go on the Enterprise E though, and
Yeah, 6 attack dice
Yeah, that's
for 2 points.
and it gives you that rear arc which you need.
yeah.
Yes.
You know what? Just occurred to me. If you had co-pilot, right, you could just spend the ship's action every single turn, and you'd have literally everything else free.
Yeah, that's very true too. Does the Enterprise E have 3 white turns?
I think so. It's got a 6 forward, I think, too.
It does.
Yeah, that's red though.
So that's another potential
Yeah,
use
it's white turns, Joseph.
Yeah, white turns.
White turns.
for Geordi, I guess.
That's true. Yeah.
Jordy's gonna be hard to get that target lock because you're not taking an action.
That's true.
What?
That's very good point.
The whole point of using the Enterprise E is you don't have to have a target lock.
That's also true.
And you'd get the battle station by placing it. Yeah.
But from
Oh, there we
co-pilot,
go.
Yeah.
That's
Or
not
7
bad.
to 9.
All right. Sweet.
Photon torpedoes are getting there.
Yeah.
They're inching their way to relevance.
Well, hell, you could do that with Dispersal Pattern Sierra. Am I the only one who remembers what that card does?
Please remind us.
You get to
I
attack 3 different ships with your photon torpedoes.
I remember, but tell Robert.
No, you.
When attacking, when attacking, it's not as I forgot about the penalty. Never mind. But there's photon torpedoes.
So, if I understand correctly, Joseph and I both remembered enough that it was a terrible card, and that's all we needed to know. You forgot that it was a terrible card.
Shh. Moving on. Oh, hey, it's Tactical Station.
What's this, attack pattern Sierra? Was that what it was?
Dispersal Pattern Sierra. Shut up.
Dispersal. Okay.
Tactical Station. Uh, you add one weapon slot to the ship's upgrade bar. It's a weapon, 4-point weapon. When attacking, disable this card, plus 1 attack die. When attacking, discard this card, plus 2 attack dice. It is 1 per ship.
Which is a big change.
And I would
Thank you, WizKids.
I would like to point out at this point, according to Worf, Tactical Station is unique. They have now printed every single other possibility, except that.
Thank you, WizKids, for making my life as a TM more difficult.
Yeah. So this is
just,
really. Sorry, go ahead.
It's just one a ship now.
I think
but
so.
What if one of my players comes with the non-identified version, right?
So
the one that doesn't have a symbol next to it.
Here's
You're
how
gonna
this.
be a jerk.
So no. Here's how this works, Robert, and I'll tell you because this was actually a ruling on tactical drone from the Borg. There is one tactical drone that is unique, and the way it works is this: unique cards only look for other unique cards. So for the tactical drone, it doesn't care how many tactical drones you have in your fleet. It cares if you have other unique tactical drones in your fleet.
Okay.
In the same vein, the unique tactical station will only look for other unique tactical stations. This tactical station can't go on the same ship as the other one because this one says once per ship and it will see the other tactical station, but it can certainly go in the same fleet.
Counterpoint. Does Worf overrule this card to be being unique?
There's no answer to that, and we desperately need one, and that's up to Worf. Ask your TO. One other side effect is if you do happen to have 2 unique copies of Tactical Station, or I guess they're non-unique copies, but you know what I mean. You can't run them in the same fleet.
Yeah. If I brought 2 old tactical stations to Worlds and had them on different ships, and someone told me I couldn't run those, it would take a lot of people to have to drag me out of that auditorium before I was finally subdued.
So
that's true. Joseph,
wait. The irony of that is that Joseph would also be running 2 interface generators on one of his Romulan ships, arguing that they are not.
Totally different example. Totally different cases.
And I mean, let me tell you something, guys. I for those of you who haven't seen Joseph in real life or met Joseph, like he's got that sort of like.
He's not getting dragged out the bar easily.
Yeah, he's got that sort of stocky rugby player look to him. Like I can picture like 20 desperate Origins nerds clinging on to him as he tries to run forward towards the table with the tack dice in hand.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the obvious thing is that treat them as 1 per ship. Like, unless I mean, none of us have corporate masters here, right? Like, the only reason not to do that is to sell more starter sets.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how honestly, as a TO, would you ever?
No. This one's a no-brainer for me. I would allow people to run them. The interface generator one is a little more problematic for me. But this is going from a bad card making it better, and I tend to lean into allowing more of that to happen.
All right. So anyway, Tactical Station. You know it, you love it. Moving on. Torpedo Fusillade. We actually did mention this one briefly during our rulebook discussion, but we think it's important enough to mention again. This is also a pretty complicated one. Wow. It is a unique Klingon weapon, forward-firing arc only. I can't tell you its attack value or its point cost because those are defined by the card, but it is range 2 to 3. And it says, the cost and attack value of this weapon are equal to the ship's primary weapon value. Attack. Remove this card from the game and target all opposing ships. Make a separate attack roll against each target ship. In other words, if you put this on a 6-die attacker, that's a 6-die attack against everything that's in arc and in range. Joseph, what do you think?
Attack everybody. This is probably the most dramatic, maybe the most powerful card we've seen in any of these three. In the 2 faction packs in the starter, certainly on the short list. It's good against everything. It's great for burning attack cancels. It's not bad knocking off fighter pips. Any kind of ship that triggers with an attacking ability is pretty interesting. With this, yeah, it's a darn good card.
It doesn't require a target lock, so it works against cloakers.
Yeah, that's true too.
Man, it's range 3, so it's the first round of combat. My feeling on this card is you are going to see 25% of the fleets in Nationals running it, but you're going to see 0 fleets in Worlds running it.
I don't know about that.
I think good fleets use this card. I think great fleets work around this card.
Which is quite a compliment for it, right there.
Yeah,
because it's definitely something you have to work around.
Yeah, right. The fleets and worlds are going to be countering this card somehow. Right? They're going to be built to deal with this card, which is probably why you're not going to see it in worlds.
All right, let me give you a counterpoint. Okay, put this on a shuttle. Just put it on a shuttle, and suddenly, that innocuous little shuttle can knock pips off of all of the opposing fighters and place a damage or 2 on all these opposing ships, and oh my god, where did this come from? And it costs 3 points.
The next weapon is a weapon that goes on shuttles. This weapon...
You could put it on a shuttle.
2 attack dice?
I don't think that's the best use for it, but for 3 points...
Right, which it means it fits on a shuttle.
Oh, right. Well, okay, what... I think that you almost just want to put this on a Keldon.
Oh, that's interesting.
With the 180 attacks.
And the 5
you want
dice.
Oh, okay. Actually, that before we get into that leads to something I enjoy about this card, which is that it is one of the few cards that actually makes other ships than the Hathaway and the other Fed 180 ships better. It makes those ships worse because it only fires at 3, and you don't get the Type 8 and upgraded phaser bonus.
Right.
So you would never run this on the Hathaway.
Well, it's not even just that. They're fragile ships, and the ability to area attack is going to do serious damage to them if this is on a high dice ship.
No, that's also very true. So I think that Keldons are pretty sweet. Dreadnoughts?
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
New Dreadnought fires it at Captain Skill 12.
That's a heck of an opening volley.
And that's 6 dice against every ship. I think, though, this mandates Drex or Nagarin.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Well, but you're not getting that. You're not getting that on a Dreadnought.
Not for any kind of reasonable
Well, you could do.
price. Cryogenic stasis.
You could put it
Maintenance crew.
You could put it
Yes.
on. You could put it on a Keldon, and I cannot believe I'm suggesting this, but bear with me. You could use Drex, and you could use the old Dominion cloaking device, and you could use new starter Worf.
New starter Worf.
Yeah, that's
that's true.
It's expensive though.
It's expensive, but you won't.
It's six hits, or it's 5. It's
Let's
5
see.
hits.
You get 2 techs and 1 crew on the Keldon as well. Man, you're really.
Yeah, that's actually, you don't even have enough crew to do it. I mean, you could put on some captain, but
Yeah, but then you need comm stations to get your captain
actually,
skill.
if you did Jean-Luc Picard 8, that would also be an auto crit on everything that matched the faction.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're talking about all that, I think you just do it with Ramada Klein, right? Because I think this is perfect for Ramada Klein.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a lot of
What does he do again?
auto hit.
Yeah, at the end of the activation phase, if your ship is in the
Oh,
forward firing arc of at least 2 enemy ships within range 1 to 3 of your ship, you may discard this card to add +2 to your captain skill number until the end phase. Gain +2 attack for all of your attacks this round.
yeah, but that doesn't help with quality.
Oh, you're taking 5 dice to 7 dice. So
True.
your odds of rolling,
Quality be damned.
yeah. And if you take him and Drex, and that's 7, he's non-action,
Yeah.
right? So now you're getting that.
Yeah, just put Worf or the Bajoran Worf as the captain, right? That'll let you reroll everything.
I actually kind of think what is close to getting you there is, I don't know what ship it would be on, but you take Drax, you would take Bohica, and then you'd put the battle station with your co-pilot, and you'd spend it maybe on the last attack, or if you really needed it. But then Bohica's converting a blank.
So what I actually like better than that is taking more than meets the eye and bringing aid. So that way they're -1 evade die, and you're on that scan token, and then you're converting off the bring aid.
You know what I like even more than that? Moving on to the next card, because we're starting to run pretty long. So
Well, but I think Fuselage is deserving of it, because I think we all agree that this is a revolutionary card, and I played against it with Chris Peters, and he played a faction pure Klingon ship, and it wrecked my world. And I played 2 or 3 times against him, and it in some ways was not fun.
yeah, and let me tell you something. If you're running suicide bugs and you can't get within range 1 that first turn, this is your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about that. It's not. I mean, when you start adding Warp and everything, God, he had Galron and Lursa on a gosh darn thing, and it was just like 6 hits. It's just like, here's 6 hits, here's 6 hits.
Anyway.
And it was, yeah.
Anyway, all right. But moving on, because we do have some other important cards to discuss. This is not one of them. Disruptor Cannon.
Oh my God, I love this card.
I know you. Disruptor Cannon, 2-point Klingon, secondary arc only weapon. 5 attack dice, range 1 to 2. Attack, disable this card and target an opposing ship. If the defending ship has a auxiliary power token beside it, this ship rolls +1 attack die.
Hey, Joseph, do you know how to give an opposing ship an auxiliary token when it's out of your forward firing arc?
I do. You use the Ferengi tech.
Which is called? Oh my God, you're right.
Hey, you know what else you could use? Riker Maneuver.
Mm-hmm. Riker Maneuver.
You know what else you could use? Transwarp Signal.
And you know what you put the soul on? The Delta Flyer.
Yes, that's correct. You do that.
I would never play that.
It's brilliant.
The Delta Flyer is not.
Actually, what I really wanted this on is I wanted on the NX with Geordi, so I could do White Port come abouts, then EM Pulse, and then fire this. But Geordi won't let me take actions.
The only consolation that I have of them ruining shuttles is that the Delta Flyer went down with them. Sorry. Continue.
Do you not like the Delta Flyer?
Oh, man.
No, it's Voyager Drac, man.
Dude, one of my favorite photos is a photo I have of, I think it's like the Hathaway, the Constitution, the Delta Flyer, and the Sakharov, where I built the fleet that the Delta Flyer was doing a 6 attack and the Sakharov was doing like a 5 attack. And I would just warp jump in behind my opponents, launch the shuttles, and then have my shuttles chase down the opposing fleet. It was great.
Okay. Anyway.
But I like this. I like this card. I like it. I like it on the Valjean. I think this makes the Valjean very playable.
The Valjean.
Why the Valjean?
Because it is the one. It's the one. God, what are they? I want to call them Marauders, but it's the one that has the reverse arc. It's the Maquis Raider that has the reverse arc. The Gavroche does not, and the Valjean is a very defensible ship, especially if you throw things on like Captured and these other cards. So you can get the defense rocking on that ship pretty quickly.
I think this is a really good example of a card that encourages you to play badly, and Robert is doing a really great job of explaining why.
Dude, masterful. We're talking, you're going to need Deanna Troy to figure out what maneuvers I'm doing, because you'll never see them coming. Right, because it doesn't have to be a come about. It just has to be a turn, right? A good 3 turn does everything I need it to do.
Let's talk about something else.
I'll make this final point. I think that if you had a ship with Sakona and you were putting a couple weapons on, this would not be a bad choice for the 3rd slot if you have a rear arc. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe even if you don't have Sakona. Opening up another 90 degrees of fire
At 5 dice for 2 points.
for 2 or 3 points is...
Yeah.
It's a little odd that it's a Klingon weapon. Are there any Klingon weapons that have secondary arc?
This is a WizKids issue. The new Cavort has the new secondary arc in the game, right? The 45 versus 90.
What?
So this was, so the Cavort has a 45-degree arc inside the 90 arc as a secondary arc. So this was really designed to be used with the Cavort, but they didn't make it Cavort only. And I think that might have been a design error.
Oh, I get it. So that if it was in the 45 arc, it would get an extra attack die. I see. That's cute.
Well, that's not good.
Well, the old
Right,
Cavort, the old Cavorts have a rear arc.
That's why it's bizarre to me, because it opens it up to every ship that has a reverse secondary arc. And I do not think that was the intent of this card.
I just mean you'd never play it. Like, 2 points isn't a lot, but it's a waste for that, pretty much.
Well, no, 2 points for a +1 attack was what we do with Type A.
When you've got them straight up bullseyed only, I don't know. Once, and then you have no economy. Maybe +2 if they have against the Hathaway. I suppose you'd be rolling 6 instead of, and only in the range 2 band, because at range 1 it doesn't even give you an advantage.
Well, remember the Vorn. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. You're right.
So I'm going to take this opportunity to say, Cavorts and Burrells have rear arcs.
Burrells have rear arcs?
Yes, Burrells have. Even the assimilated Burrell has a rear arc.
But not the generic.
Yes, it does.
Maybe it is the other one that came in that pack, because I think one of those does not have a rear arc.
Oh, what's Korok's actual ship?
Yeah.
Hang on. Korok's Bird of Prey has a rear arc. I mean, either that or Utopia's wrong, which is possible, but...
I'll have to look at my tokens. I think one of those didn't have a rear arc.
HMS Bounty has a rear arc. Every Burrell I'm looking at has a rear arc.
Yeah. But this is, I mean, even the picture, this is a weapon that's designed to be on the front of a ship.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, it's not bad. It's even good.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
All right. 2 more to go. And then some additional pictures. Exocomp. 4-point, non-unique, not limited to 1 per ship tech. Planning phase, place 2 time tokens on this card, repair 1 damage to this ship's hull. One of these is annoying. Stacking these, multiples of these on 1 ship is just incredibly obnoxious.
4 points is pretty expensive, but you can reduce tech. I think Vanek with this would be hilarious.
You know what you can do with this that I literally just thought of? The Dauntless. Just stick 4 of them on the Dauntless.
I think you need to repair the shields, because I feel the Dauntless will get one-shotted once the shields are down. 4 hull.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's why it's just, if it's shields, that would be awesome. But the fact that it's hull means you're taking damage to the hull, which means you're in a dire situation.
Yeah.
Unless you're taking something like a Borg ship would be kind of nice, but you have regenerate is whole. Yeah, so you already have regenerate, so you don't necessarily need to do this.
Oh,
Vanek on Weapon Zero. How many tech slots can you get on Weapon Zero?
That would be awesome.
There's a couple things that add a tech slot, actually, isn't there? It doesn't. No,
Yeah,
that's a
well,
crew slot.
system upgrades does.
Not to the Weapon Zero.
No, Mott's, Jennifer Sisko.
I don't know. I don't. Four is too expensive.
Yeah, but if it heals 2 damage, it's well. I mean, we can't say that 2 is the cost of a whole anymore because of the new pricing. But
No, I guess there is a certain amount of math in that, like, certain, like going from 8 to 10 total health, probably means it's going to take 3 ship attacks to kill you instead of 2. And that's quite a big difference. So
Yeah.
if you figure you can get this to activate twice, then that's worth it. But I just don't see it because you have to survive 2 rounds of combat before the second use, potentially.
right, and your shields are already gone.
And your shields are gone. I guess it could be good for repairing interface damage, maybe.
That's a lot of points you're spending. Why not just take Dax, or why not just take Quinn, or some other attack cancellation kind of card?
Well, this doesn't get used up, right?
Yeah, but it's used every other round. Maybe. I think on a high cloaker where you can take that extra damage. So like the new Daedrix, if you had 2 of these on there, because you're not going to be taking huge amount of hull damage, just 1 to 2 every so often.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you stop the bleed.
Yeah, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. I could see it with that.
4 points is still a lot, though.
hey guys, want to be
Eight-
underwhelmed?
I think you need. I think you need 2.
I do not want to be underwhelmed.
Well, too bad. We're looking at
I just want.
reinforced
I want to be
bulkheads.
whelmed. Can you whelm me, Tucker?
I
You're
am-
referencing one of my favorite movies, and I love it.
I am underwhelmed.
All right, reinforced bulkheads, 3-point Klingon. I just realized this is a Klingon ship exploding. Who picks these pictures?
Actually, you know what's funny is when I first saw this card, I thought it was a Fed card.
Me too. I thought.
Okay.
The picture is a cautionary tale of what happens if you don't have reinforced bulkheads.
All right. Okay. 3-point Klingon tech. When defending, when this ship receives a face-up damage card, turn that damage card face down unless it is a warp core breach. Does this
I
happen?
want to know why a warp core breach somehow makes it through reinforced bulkheads.
I don't know.
Like, what is
But-
special about that?
I don't know. But other question. Is a card like direct hit that happens instantaneously affected by this card?
I'm saying no. I'm saying that this is that whole if one card trumps another or what the specific overruling the general. This is intended to stop direct hit. You disregard any text on the critical and on the critical side of the card and turn it face down just to show the normal damage.
Yeah, because it doesn't say after it's assigned even.
Well, it says when the ship receives.
Well, that's true. I don't think you get it.
All right.
But
Yeah.
I have no. I just feel that's the common sense approach. I have no more weight behind my opinion than that.
Well, honestly, I think that when you sit down at the end of the day, the real answer to that question is who cares? So that is.
I could wait. I could see this on the Weapon Zero. If you really want to ensure the survivability of the Weapon Zero, that doesn't have any shields. This is a good card to take.
For 4 points?
Not the greatest card to take, but
Sure. All right. So a couple other things from the starter that we want to show off. First of all, I just realized, guys, that these may not be in the Imager album. So
no, they're here.
Okay.
First one we have to thank Nick for.
Well,
but go ahead.
One of them isn't, which is the Mind token, but I can describe that, and I'm sure you saw the picture. Okay, so first is the new damage deck. Most of this is not terribly important because it's pretty much exactly the same. However, one major change is direct hit and minor explosion. They no longer say they take one additional damage card. It says it suffers one hit, which means that if you do this critical through shields, that damage will no longer go to the hull. It will go to shields.
So stupid.
Yeah, I think that's pretty dumb, honestly.
The ship suicide attack through our shields hit our hull. Oh, our shields got damaged. I guess you could argue that the power disruption caused a reduction in your shield quality, but
Sure.
I can headcanon it.
Joseph,
there
any
you go.
thoughts? All right.
I guess that I don't know. I don't think it makes gameplay worse. Thematically, I don't. I mean, I guess you can justify it, as Robert said. And is the language clear? Probably, it's a little more intuitive.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. I wish they'd fix stunt helmsman, but
Yeah, that would be
would've
nice.
been nice.
What, like the next time the ship attacks, cancel that attack?
no, the next combat phase
It
because
rolls 0 dice or something like that.
well, so this was a crit. There's an identical crit to this in X-Wing, and it got ruled that after the next attack phase, it gets flipped down, basically, right? So the thing that's really frustrating about this is, like, let's say someone's behind you, and then you get this crit. You've got to go all the way and turn around, right? And like you can go through 1 or 2 combat phases, say, and you don't flip it, right? So it's
It persists.
So in other words, it would be like the next time this ship attacks this round.
yeah, or yeah, it's just the next combat phase, right? Like the next combat phase where it could attack.
Right.
Then
Or if it did not attack at the end of the round, flip this card face down.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Because it's just so powerful. If you don't, I mean, it's the worst crit to get no matter what, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
But
I would say so.
if you don't have an attack lined up that round, so your opponent's like, oh wow, he has to actually work now to make a 0 dice attack. That's devastating.
It is. A couple other noteworthy things. First of all, I'm going to zoom this out a bit. The tokens are now numbered. I think this is great. It'll make certain things a lot easier. Number one. Number two, the initiative token is way smaller than we thought it'd be.
Yeah, true. It's almost the size of a mission token.
Yeah, that's gonna make it harder to keep track, I think.
I think what Joseph and I have found works the best is you just count the rounds.
That's one way to do it. Another way that I've heard is people are using, I mean, if you have one, but a lot of stores will just give them away, is the old Admiral token from Dominion War.
You can play spin the bottle and then just rotate the bottle back.
Okay, now you made it weird. And the last picture, which you
Oh,
guys...
wait, no. Also, let's mention they have mission tokens. I can't remember if mission tokens came with the starter.
Yes,
They did.
they did.
They did?
They're numbered though here too.
Yeah, they're numbered here as well.
Anyway, and the last thing we have is the new Mind token, which is almost a strict upgrade. There's like a couple of millimeters here and there where the old one pokes off the edges, but this almost completely encompasses the old one and is now a perfect oval. That little line that was pictured in the rulebook actually isn't there.
Yeah, which is better for measurement too.
That's true.
I'm not a fan of Cloaked Minds. This helps Cloaked Minds a little bit, but it's a better design. And so it's a good change.
It'll help Chris Peters.
Yes, it'll help Chris Peters. It will help us all. I mean, it also will actually what it'll really do is speed up placement too, because no one's going to be trying to use one of those little nubs on the current cloaked mines to try to fit mines into range 2.
That's true. Or just use like that big indentation to be like, oh, see, it's outside your ship's range or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So Tucker, best cards out of the starter.
Easily Torpedo Folisade. I love It's a Good Day to Die. Hobson probably. Of the ones we looked at today, I mean, obviously, like if you count the entire starter, it's like the Sutherland.
No, the entire starter. Think of the entire starter.
Worf.
What are you taking out of the entire starter?
Half the cards in the pack, dude. Like, it's a good buy.
Joseph, what are you going to see at Worlds from here?
Well, there are a lot of candidates. I would say almost certainly Vorches. Almost certainly Tactical Stations. Almost certainly Christopher Hobson. And not from the Vorn, I think is great, and not from today, but the Sutherland I think is going to be the ship to beat.
You know what's most interesting to me about all that though is it's not if you throw all that together, it's not a good stuff fleet. Like you're going to have to make decisions about what to take based on what you think you're going to see, and I think that's really healthy for the game.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and Torpedo Fuselage.
Yeah,
nationals only. We'll adjust.
Yeah, national. Yeah,
We'll adjust for Worlds.
Right. I don't know if we'll see a Klingon swarm fleet in Worlds, unless maybe it's something like we're talking about 3 Vorches and 2 fighters, which might be interesting.
Lon did pretty well with 2 Vorches and 2 fighters.
Yeah. And I don't think we have an answer for that yet.
I don't think we have an answer for a lot yet, and that's actually really good.
Yeah, I think it's great.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today.
So Tucker, do you know where you can get some answers?
I'm not going to like the answer to this, am I?
You just ask the question.
Where?
No, I was expecting more. I was expecting a full question.
Where can I get some answers?
Well, Tucker, I am so glad you asked. If you come out to Fremont, California on April 14th, we'll be running an unsanctioned regionals where you'll be able to fly all of the new ships and test your skills. We'll be using the Nationals of World's objective rule set. So come out and win prizes, door prizes, competition prizes, and meet some of the best players in the world.
You already plugged that once.
Yeah, but you liked the answer more than you thought you would, I bet.
That's true. I did. I thought it was going to be a really terrible pun. Anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So if you liked the show today, go ahead and give us a like on Facebook, iTunes Store. Does anybody know, does Player.fm, I don't have an Android, does Player.fm have a review system? They must. Give us a good review there too.
If they don't, build one and then give us a good review.
That seems excessive.
Well, it's what our fans would do.
That's true. Anyway, feel free also to send us a message asking questions. I'm not sure when we're going to be back. We're still debating whether we want to do one more back-to-back week. It's been a lot, but there may be one next week and maybe our normal schedule the week after. Any final thoughts, you guys?
I am happy to see all the changes to the game, despite some of the little hiccups along the way.
Yeah, hiccups aside, I'm very excited. The initial round of card packs were not bad by any stretch, but I really feel like this is the true start of their new plan, and it's a great start. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. All right. Well, that's pretty much all. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening. But for now,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. Did we not say that? I totally thought we said that. Happy New Year.
God, Joseph and Tucker, it's 2 days past. That's so old.
And have a somber and dignified Ramadan.
Okay, take us out.
I'm feeling like deja vu. Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. But for now, dials down, and may Q be generous with your dice.